Good morning, welcome to Furry and Spoilt. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how to stop dogs barking at night. So I've been contacted by a subscriber who's got herself into a right mess with her dogs. Neighbours have complained, the dog warden's been called, it's got very serious. And it's because her dogs are barking throughout the night, which obviously is very bad. And so she's contacted me because it's just a mess. The neighbours weren't talking to her, the family weren't sleeping. Now the dog warden's been called. There's talk of the dogs having to be it's a mess. And the lady's really upset because she really loves her dogs. So she's contacted me to see if I can help her. They've had various dog trainers in. It's just nothing's working. So she's called me to see or messaged me through Instagram to see if I could help her. So I did. I said I would. And so I'm going to tell you what I've done, everything that she's put into place, and the whole problem is sorted. So it's probably taken about a month that she's been working on it, and it's all sorted out. So her two little dogs, she's got two little Yorkshire Terriers, they're a year old, and they're sleeping peacefully throughout the night now. Dog warden is happy, she signed it off. Neighbours are happy, the family is sleeping, everyone's happy and settled, and it's all great. So I'm just going to go through with you exactly what I went through with her. She'd obviously given me permission to discuss this, so I'll tell you what has happened. So the first thing I asked was, where are the dogs? And the lady said they are downstairs in the kitchen in a crate. So I asked why the dogs were in a crate, and she said if they're not in the crate, then they run around all over the house playing at night and barking, still barking. So it would be probably even worse. So my thing is, well, at night time, dogs should be fast asleep. They should be so tired that they're sleeping. So that's really make the problem really quite simple, because all she had to do was make sure those dogs were tired when she went to bed. When I asked her about her routine, I could see the problem. There was no routine. It was just all over the place. There's just no routine. And if dogs have a routine, then you can control their behaviour, because not only will you teach their brains to know what is coming next, but you'll teach their bodies to know what is coming next. So their bodies are going to want to sleep at the times you want them to sleep. They're going to want to eat. They're going to want to play. They're going to want to walk at the times that you have scheduled for them to do that. Now, when you set a routine, you've got to be realistic about it. There's no point in her saying to me, yeah, I'm going to do this and that and this and that and this and that, and then not actually being able to do it. And there was no point, she realised quite quickly, I'm not stupid, I'm very on the ball. There was no point in telling me you were going to do stuff that you couldn't do. So you've got to be realistic about it. So at the time, as things were standing, the dogs were spending a lot of time during the day in the crate as well, because they were quite irritating to be around, and she wasn't able to get on. She works from home, and she wasn't able to get on with doing what she needed to do. And she didn't tell me the truth about that in the beginning, and I realised about a week on something wasn't up here. She wasn't telling me the truth, and was that the dogs were being kept a long time in the crate during the day as well. So this was such an easy problem to sort out, really, because I'm so against dogs being kept in crates. Putting a dog in a crate does something to their brain, as you would expect it to. If you were locked in a cage night and day, it would do something to your brain, and it's exactly the same with dogs. I see it all the time. It does something awful to their brains. So we've got to get those dogs out of the crates. And so now she's in a position where the crates have gone. There's no crates in the house at all. They've gone. The dogs know their routine. The dogs are happy. They're obedient. And they're sleeping all through the night, and they're able to just wander around the house while she's working, like dogs should be. They shouldn't be left into crates. So I asked her about her walking. So she's walking them twice a day. I actually am not a massive fan of dogs being walked twice a day. I think you do definitely need to walk dogs, no questions about that. You do definitely need to walk dogs. But I'm a fan of walking dogs in the morning, and then in the afternoon, the time that you've got for them, to use for training and for using their brains. You will never ever wear a dog out just from walking them. All you're going to do is get them fitter and fitter, and you're going to have to walk them longer and longer. You have to mix it up. So you have a walk, but you also need to use their brain. And she had never done any dog training before, So I needed to put something simple in that she could do, she could understand, but that would maximum wear those dogs out. So in the morning, she's doing a 45-minute walk with them. And that involves not just actual walking, because they are really tiny little dogs. So not just actual walking, that's quite a lot of walking. But standing around, watching people, chatting to people, so that the dogs learn that when she's talking to people, that they've got to wait nice and calmly. And it's all interaction, meeting other dogs, things like that. So for 45 minutes, they're out of the house. And that's happening every morning without fail. So she's getting up the same time every day. That's really important. So your dog's body gets set into the routine that it's going to be in, and it all goes the way you want it to go. So up every morning, feed them straight away. I just like feeding my dogs before we go for a walk. But it is vital that you have an hour between feeding them and walking them, because bloat is a real problem. It kills dogs. It's really, really serious. If you don't know about it, go to the playlist Dog Health and read about bloat, because it's very serious. And so it's important that if you are going to feed your dogs before you're walking them, you do have an hour in between. And so she's decided to do the same as I do. So I get up, feed my dogs, and then I go and get myself ready, have my shower, get myself sorted for the day. And that takes about an hour. I have my breakfast and all of that. That gives them an hour between eating their breakfast and then going for their walk. And she's decided to do the same. So she's doing the same, getting herself all sorted for her day. That's taken an hour. And then she is taking them for the walk. So then she's going for a walk, and then she's coming back from a walk. And again, she's decided to go with the same routine as I am doing. When I get back from my walk, this is what happens. So in my videos where you see my dogs like this, it is because we've just got back from our walk, and this is how tired they are. Now my dogs are older, so Harry here, he is 6, so they are older, and her dogs are only a year old. But even if they don't fall asleep at this period of time, you need to set what's going to happen at this period of time. The lady needs to work, but she works from home. So the lady needs to work. So from this time up until lunchtime, she needs to have no interaction with the dogs. So the dogs can play on their own nicely with their toys. Or if you've got a couple of dogs, they can play together if they want to play together. Or they can sleep. Ideally, you want them to sleep. So like, I need my dogs to sleep at this time of day, because I do my Furry and Spoilt work. And so ideally, and what's happening is they're getting back from the walk. They are playing for a little while with their toys, but then they are settling down and they are sleeping up until lunchtime, which is great. With toys, with some dogs, with my dogs, I have toys out all the time and it's fine. And it's because they're older and they don't really play that much with them. They just grab one now and again and chew it or whatever. But if you've got dogs that toys overstimulate them and make them hyper and excited, then put the toys out at particular times and then put the toys away. So in this case, what the lady is doing is they get back from their walk. She's putting the toys out, so they're allowed to play for half an hour if they want to. Then she's putting the toys away, and then they have to settle down. And there's no, she is giving them no attention at all during this time. So she's working, and they have to settle down and relax, and that's working really well because she did the morning walk. They're then relaxing, and that's working really well. You can, if you want to put 2 walks in, do, but she only has so much time, as we all do, and so the time that she's got in the afternoon would be much better spent using the dog's brain. So let me tell you what she's going to be doing to use the dog's brain. Right, so there's going to be 2 sessions of using their brain. One is going to be at 2:00, and it's going to be actual training. So training them to sit, training them to go onto their bed, and things like that. And that only needs to last about 10-15 minutes. You don't need a long period of time for that to really wear them out. And she wasn't familiar with teaching a dog to sit or anything like that. She had never done training. And so I sent her to my channel, my playlist, and then training dogs. And in there's not many videos in there. I do need to add some videos into there. But at the moment, she's working on teaching the dogs to sit, teaching the dogs to come. So that's what she's doing at the moment, just working on those two things. And then what's happening is at 4 o'clock, they are being fed again. Now, feeding dogs 3 times a day, you know, some people do. I mean, I just like it. I think it gives you the dogs a steady dose of energy throughout the day. It also gives them more stimulation because 3 times a day they have something else to look forward to. I think if you just feed your dog once a day, that's fine, and you know, loads of dogs are fine on it. But I just like doing it 3 times a day because it gives them that 3 times more stimulation, something to look forward to, 3 times more activity. She's doing the same, and so she's feeding them at 4 o'clock. She's very much basing her routine on what I do. Not because I'm saying my routine's perfect, but, you know, it's just something to base it on. So 4 o'clock, they're being fed. And then she's waiting an hour. And waiting that hour afterwards is really important because, again, of the bloat situation. So after that, so at 5:30, she's doing a thing called Find It. I have to say it really quietly because my dogs will know what that means. And it's, if you go to playlist, go to indoor games, I show you it. I do it with my dogs. You see my dogs doing it. In that video, I'm actually doing it indoors, but you can do it indoors or outdoors. You can switch it all around to keep it interesting. And you break up treats, and you hide them. So all over the garden, all in the house, and it takes my dogs a good 40 minutes to find all the treats, a good 40 minutes, and absolutely wears their brains out because they're using their nose and their eyes, and they really wears them out. Like, do it. Honestly, you will see how much it wears your dogs out. And it has with these two, and they are absolutely worn out after it. Worn out. I just want to show you the treats. I think that's an important thing. So when I'm doing Find It, I use these. Oh, they're actually cat treats, and they're that small, but they really smell strong. So when I do Find It, either use these or other treats that I can break down to that size, but they need to smell really strong because the dogs have got to smell it. And these 2 little dogs that I've been working with have benefited so much from doing Find It. And one of the good things about Find It is that it takes you, what, 5 minutes to set it up, but then they are just distracted for a good 45 minutes. So what this lady's going to do is she sets it all up and then goes and cooks dinner. So if she sets it up in her back garden, she can see them from her kitchen. She can go and cook dinner and the dogs are distracted, and that's working really well for her. The important thing is that, so she's doing Find It at 5:30, and that's sort of finished about 6, 6:30ish. What's really important is that you have a wind down period. So the dogs have had a day. They've had a busy day. They've had a day. And that's really great, and that's essential for having everything go well for them. But what's really important is then that they then have a wind down period. So their body recognises what's happening. And so I do this with my dogs, and this lady's doing it with her dogs. So whatever time you go to bed, those 2 hours before bed really should be a nice wind down period. So for instance, a couple of hours before bed, it's probably not a couple of hours actually, it's probably about an hour and a half before bed, I sit down on the sofa, have a cuddle with my boys, watch some TV, I dim the lights, even like in the light evenings I just pull the curtains in so that, you know, it gets a bit darker, and the boys know that is nice, peaceful, relaxed time. They can come on the sofa with me, have a cuddle with me, have attention, but it's calm, it's not play, there's no playing. So if your dogs have a problem with toys, then to put the toys away. So this lady is putting the toys away. There's no toys. There's plenty of attention. You can have a cuddle, you can have lots of strikes, you can have belly rubs, all that. But you cannot have playing. There's not to play with you, they're not to play with each other, they're not to play with toys. They've just got to calm down. And if you've done your day right, by the time you get to this time, they should be quite happy to calm down and to just relax. And my dogs definitely are. By this point in the day, they just want to relax and they'll get on the sofa with me and we'll all have a cuddle. And that's important that happens every night, because if you don't wind your dogs down, you've got to set them up for going to bed. I think sometimes when you watch my videos, you might think that I was just gifted with 3 dogs that are very, very calm and well behaved, because they're generally normally asleep while I'm recording YouTube. That is not how it is at all. Yeah, my dogs are very well behaved and they are very calm, and what you see is the truth. But that is because I've put the work in and I work hard with my dogs, and they have a very set routine. My dogs, one of them has he has brain damage, he has learning difficulties, and it very much shows itself in the same way as it does in humans with autism. Harry here, he had a whole load of problems. He was a rescue, horrendous, a real bad situation. He was quite aggressive with people and things like that, and he's beautiful now. He's not now, but that all had to be dealt with. And then we've got humps over there at the back, you can see on the floor. He's from Korea, and he's showing all his behavioural problems that I'm working through. So don't ever think that I just got, blessed with 3 beautifully behaved dogs, because I didn't. The stuff that I'm talking about is the stuff that works, and it's really worked for this lady. I'm actually hoping that she's going to record some videos and send them to me, and I'll be able to do another video for you. So it's really important that you put the work in. Having dogs isn't easy, and she's admitted, she saw these 2 cute little Yorkshire Terriers, and they were really cute, and they were puppies, and she got them, and she just thought, you just get them, you put them in a crate, and that's the end of that. And it's not that at all. It's so much more than that. But the thing is, if you put your routine into place, if you want to know more about routine, I have done a video on it, but if you put a routine into place that works with your schedule, then, and it's just automatic to you, it doesn't feel like work. So I've got 3 dogs, it's a lot of work, but it doesn't really feel like work, because it all fits in with my routine, and it all works well with me. So, like now when I'm recording this video, and then after this I sit and I edit it all takes a few hours. My dogs are all nice and peaceful and calm, but that's because I put the work in and walked them before. So you do have to put the work in. It's not going to happen without the work. So that's that piece. You need to make sure that they have a nice relaxing evening. You can sometimes I'll rub some lavender oil into my hands and just really make it a really nice relaxing time of the evening for them. Right, then it's time for bed. And what's really important is that those dogs were taken out of those crates, because I'm sure the crates were causing frustration. So this is how I set my dogs up, and this is how the lady has set her dogs up. So this is my upstairs, my landing, and how I set it up is I've got my dogs' beds here. Now our bedrooms go off this landing, and they can come into our bedrooms, but I haven't recommended that the lady do that. I've recommended that she's got a stair gate going across our bedroom, so our dogs can see her, but they can't get into her. Ideally, if I could do it all again, I wouldn't have my dogs in my bedroom. They kick, and they just disturb me too much in the night. So I haven't recommended that she do that. I've recommended that she do this. So she has brought the dogs 2 new beds, a new bed each. So it's a fresh start, new beginnings, no association with being locked in the crate. So she's brought them a new bed each, and then the bed that she's brought them is sort of similar to this one here. And then she's done what I've done and just got 2 pillows and put them on top of the bed and a nice blanket, and look how squishy and cosy that is. If you don't have a nice cosy bed for them, they're going to keep waking up because they're uncomfortable. If you can get them a really nice bed, it doesn't have to, like those 2 beds down there, they did cost a fair old bit of money, to be honest. They were a Christmas present for them. But this one here is the one they sleep on the most. And if you've got them a cosy bed, they're going to love going to bed, they're going to like it, they're going to associate lovely sleep with it, and they'll sleep better because they'll be comfortable. So, don't just be, I've done a video about everything, but I've done a video about this. That bed by itself like that, it looks all cosy, but if you actually stand on that, it's not. And actually, they're just going to, it's like I'm lying on the floor, and that's going to hurt their legs, and then they're going to keep waking up. So put some pillows on top of it, get it all cosy. And like I said, Albert, he sleeps on here all the time. It's his favourite bed. And so that's really important. Nice, fresh start, new bed. That's important. However, you do not want them going down the stairs. They have to be restrained somewhere. So I have this going across. This is, somebody was chucking out like a rabbit run for their garden. And so I grabbed it because I could see that I could use those bits. And so I just put that across the top of the stairs. That stops my boys going downstairs. And the lady's done the same. She's bought a really nice ornate fire guard and put it across the top of her stairs. And then across her bedroom door, she's got a stairgate. And then make sure that they've got water. Some people will tell you not to let your dogs have water at night. That is abuse. Don't do that. If a dog wants to drink, he has a right to drink. So they always have water. Now, if my dogs were puppies, I would have a puppy pad and I'd probably put it there. I need to talk to you about dogs going to the toilet at night. We'll go downstairs and do that. But so this is my setup, and that's exactly the same setup that the lady's got. Now I have a really long landing, but it doesn't matter. Even if my landing only went to the end of that rug, even if it was a little bit shorter, I would still do it this way, as long as they can see you through the stairgate. Because that's a lot of what the barking is caused by. They're worried. Where are you? They can see you. They're much more settled. So to be able to see you through the stairgate. I think the dogs being able to see you at night is really important for them getting a good night's sleep. They're a pack animal and they feel much more settled. Right, here's Albert. He's my little dog that has brain damage, bless his little heart. And he's the happiest little dog I've ever met. And I think there's a lot to be said for that, really. If you don't put too much in your brain, I think there's a lot to be said for that. But I want to talk to you about dogs going to the toilet at night. So most adult dogs will go all through the night holding their toilet, no problem at all. But some dogs, for whatever reason, don't. And you will drive yourself crazy trying to force a dog to go to the toilet before they go to bed. And you'll get frustrated, and the dog will sense that tension, and you're just going to end up yourself in a right mess. I know people who walk their dogs at 2 o'clock in the morning because their dog will only go to the toilet if they go out on a walk. It's madness. It's just madness. So take all of the tension out of it and put a puppy pad down. I just, if a dog has got used to going to the toilet during the night, it's really, really hard to break that. And, there are things like don't feed them dry food because that makes them drink more and all this kind of stuff. But really, in my experience, if a dog has got used to going to the toilet at night, you will drive yourself crazy trying to change that behaviour. And therefore, I would put a puppy pad down and let them go to the toilet on the puppy pad. And then hopefully, if you make changes like this lady has, your dogs won't actually want to go to the toilet at night. Her dogs were, she was coming down at 3 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that and letting them out to go to the toilet. Now, there's a couple of issues there. That's crazy. You need to be sleeping at 3 o'clock in the morning. But also, if the dogs were awake and they weren't tired, and then they've got the opportunity to go out into the garden and bark at 3 o'clock in the morning, of course they're going to take that. If they're not tired and they're bored in the night, they're going to love that. So first things first is they've got to learn that that's not happening. It doesn't matter how much they bark, they are not being let out. But you have provided facilities. And puppy pads, I don't know what's in those things, but it's like magic. They are just drawn to them and they just go on them. But also the fact that if you keep them busy during the day, they should be so tired that they shouldn't want to go to toilet in the night. I know with mine that sometimes when it's time to get up, they kind of do a mad dash to the back door because they're bursting, and that's fine. And then, I just get up and run to the back door and let them out, and that's all fine. But I'm really not into walking them, before you go to bed and waiting with them until they've gone to toilet. And I've never seen that kind of behaviour work. But with this lady, what's happening is the dogs are so tired, they're sleeping all through the night. They're not even bothering to ask to go out. But she's putting the puppy pads down just in case. But they haven't used them, and they've stopped wanting to go out in the middle of the night. So that's brilliant. So the whole moral of this story is that you need to give your dogs a day. You need to give them stuff to be happening, like little things like after we've eaten our dinner, then our boys we brush their teeth, and then they have a treat after that. You know, so it's all activity. Things like when my husband comes in from work, they know what time he comes in from work, and so it's more activity. And so it's just about giving your dogs a day, but it's vitally important that they have a set routine so that their bodies get used to what needs to happen at what times and will want to do it. So like, there's nothing forcing my dogs just sleeping now, but they want to sleep now because they've been out for their walk. And they want to go to bed at bedtime because they're tired from their day. It's really important that you have a routine and that you keep them busy and that you give them a day. Now, there are other aspects as well where you can fine-tune this, and I think in the future the lady and me will be talking about this, but for now we're just working on what she's working on. Her diet, I think the dog's diet could improve dramatically, and that will calm them down. If you want to know about diet, go to playlist, go to feeding dogs. I'm quite passionate about dog nutrition. And just making sure that they have leadership, that they know that there are rules in the house, there are things they can do, there are things they can't do, and making sure that you're a good leader so that they feel nice and safe and secure. I think that's really, really vital as well. And eventually we will be working on that. But for now, we're just going to do what we're doing. But again, if you want to know about that playlist, I think it's dog behaviour. I put the pack leadership stuff in there. But I think, it's really important that they know you're in charge and that they don't have to worry about things. And I think also with them being upstairs with you at night time, I think that just calms them down so much, because not only do they know where you are, but if ever they don't feel very well or anything like that happens, they know that you're just there. And also, I think that I would hate to have my dogs downstairs in the kitchen, because I'd be thinking, well, if they're not very well or something like that happens, I'm not going to know. Whereas where they are, if they're not very well or something happens, I know they're right there, and so I haven't got to worry about it. And it does also mean if your dog is ever ill, it's much easier if you do need to get up and deal with anything in the night. It's much easier for you because they're right there. You haven't got to come up and down the stairs. So I just personally think it's much more practical to have dogs sleeping right outside your bedroom door. But I'd highly recommend you don't let them in the bedroom. I really regret doing that. And if we ever get to a point where we are no dogs, and then I start again, I'm going to start again with them not coming in the bedroom, having them outside the bedroom door. I love them dearly, but they kick and they are just disruptive at night time, and sleep's very important. So that's my story. That's what we've done, and it's working absolutely great. The dogs are very, very happy, much, much, much happier. Everybody's happier. Neighbours happier. Everyone's happier. It's worked an absolute treat. And yeah, at the moment, it does seem like an awful lot of work for the lady because she's got to do all this stuff. But once she's got more used to it just being part of her routine, it will be routine, and it won't seem like so much effort for her. And she's delighted because, it really looked like those dogs were going to have to go. So, yeah, she's very pleased. So, yeah, that's it. So, I hope that, some of this has helped. I hope some of it, you've learnt from some of it. You know where I am, Furry and Spoilt everywhere. And if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. So, that's it for today. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.